After one of my talks recently, a woman in her 40s came up and we started talking, and my topic for the day was perfectionism and talking about imposter syndrome as well as burnout. And for this particular individual, she was in her 40s. She said, I'm looking back at my life, and as I'm listening to you talk, I'm asking myself, why did I give away my power to so many people to make decisions for me? She was referring to the organization where she worked, where there's an expectation, this unwritten expectation where people should work long hours and they should grind themselves to get where they want to go. And for her, that style didn't really work. And I want to share with you 3 reasons why I think that is. Number one, I think our culture, our work culture, or culture at large ingrains in us that we should go to school at a certain time, graduate, get a first job, when to have kids, when to move up. So it's almost like a path has been laid out for us, and it's an expectation that everybody would do this. Everybody would grind themselves into the ground and work, and then we retire at a certain age and spend our money. So we are, as a society, just going along with what has been laid out without even questioning it. And to question that is to be seen as someone who's an outlier, which is, quite frankly, is not a bad thing. I think for a lot of us, the second reason why we give our power away is, in order for us to get off of that treadmill, so to speak, it's going to take a commitment for you to discover who you are. You're going to have to spend the time, make the sacrifice to discover you, get to know you, what makes you unique. And quite frankly, that is scary. It is much easier to go along a path that's been laid out with rewards and benefits that are predictable in some cases. I can't say in all cases. In many cases, somewhat predictable, instead of going and finding yourself, so to speak. But the thing that it often comes back is at some point you're going to get tired, because we suffer from imposter syndrome because that path that's been laid out for us doesn't fit everyone. And when you're going against the grain of who you are, you're going to second guess yourself because you feel you don't measure up. It's not that you don't measure up, it's that you're not going to where you belong. So if you take the time to develop yourself, then it's easier to find the company, the department, the leader who can nurture you and help grow you from where you are. It's when we try to fit into places where we don't belong because of style differences, values differences, and a number of other things, we find ourselves constantly feeling as if we're not good enough. Nothing is wrong with you. You just have to recognize that is not where you belong. So one, our culture ingrains it in us. Number two, we don't want to take the time to develop ourselves. And number three, I think the third reason why we often give our power away to other people is that even if we do the work initially, it's going to take a discipline and consistency for us to sustain the course. And we don't want to do that because it's lonely. We don't want to do that because it can be frustrating. We don't want to do that because it often means you have to be by yourself for a time in order to get to the other side. And not many people want to walk that lonely road. But I'm going to ask you, if you don't do it voluntarily, it's going to show up as imposter syndrome, where you're constantly measuring yourself against others. It's going to show up as burnout, where your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit says, I am done. And before you get to the point, I'm going to encourage you to stop and take the time to develop who you are so you can show up as the fully committed, phenomenal, exceptionally qualified person, individual that you are for the right organization. So don't give your power away. Take the time to develop who you are and figure out where you can plug yourself in.